A federal judge has stepped in to temporarily block President Donald Trump's effort to buy out federal government employees. At this point, some 40,000 federal employees have taken Donald Trump up on that offer. That's about 2% of the federal workforce. And essentially, they have agreed that they will resign immediately as long as they continue getting paid through September. However, the unions representing these federal workers argue that these workers are actually being lied to, and that the promise to get paid through September is not true, it's not real, it's not based in reality. And so the federal judge who has heard this case or has heard the argument did not weigh in on the merit of the argument, but did agree to block this effort for a week pending another hearing that will be happening next week. So let me give you some more details about what's going on. Who are the plaintiffs and what are they saying? Well, three unions, the American Federation of Government Employees, the National Association of Government Employees, and the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees argue that the OPM violated the Administrative Procedure Act by failing to provide a legal basis for the buyout offer and leaving open the possibility that the government might not follow through with the buyout once federal employees agree to resign. So this is really interesting, Cenk. This is a fascinating argument, and I'm curious how the judge is going to rule on this. So the lawsuit added that the buyout's promise of payments through September violates the law because the current appropriation for federal agencies actually expires in March. Moreover, the buyout is unfair because it was made alongside a threat for future layoffs, the lawsuit said. And that's definitely true. When the Trump administration put out this notice calling on the federal employees to essentially take this buyout offer, they said, for those who turned this offer down, there is no promise that you will not get fired. So essentially, it's putting these workers in an impossible situation because either you take the buyout offer and you get this severance package, or you remain in your position and you get fired anyway and maybe don't get any severance at all. Now, in his decision today, US District Judge George O'Toole Jr. simply said the following: I enjoined the defendants from taking any action to implement the so-called fork directive pending the completion of briefing and oral argument on the issues. I believe that's as far as I want to go today. So he did not weigh in on the merit of the argument, but essentially said, I'm blocking this for now until I can hear the oral arguments and make my decision. So the freeze will remain in place until Monday afternoon of next week, when the judge decides during an afternoon hearing whether he wants to block the buyout further. Cenk.
Yeah, it should definitely be blocked. Whether the Supreme Court does things that are rational is a really big open question. So this will move up the courts. And we'll see how they handle it. Okay, so why should it be blocked? So first of all, they are giving money through September. That money has not been appropriated. So you might be annoyed by that, what you consider bureaucracy by that, but that's the end of the question. If I'm a judge, I go, no, sorry, not close, you gotta go, okay? And so why is that? Because Congress has not appropriated that money. When it comes to the government, period, it's over. If it's not appropriated, you don't have it to give to them, right? So even if you thought the buyouts are a good idea, I don't see how it's legal. So they'd have to do I don't know. I mean, the Supreme Court has to make so many twists and turns, and we'll have more stories later in the show that affect them as well to try to justify some of these Trump decisions, but they might not. They might go, yeah, no, that money's not appropriate, that's not how it works. And it might be illegal. This one's more of an open question. If it's with a threat, right? Like, you better take this money, otherwise we're gonna fire you, might also be illegal, but that's a debatable legal question. And so I'm curious how that one plays out. Now, this fork directive that he's talking about is because this is called the fork in the road memo. And not only did it go out here, in this case, the federal workers, but it's the same exact title as the one Elon Musk used at Twitter when he came in and eventually fired different reports of somewhere between 2/3 to 3/4 of his employees there. So that threat to fire people is very real. Now, the problem is that this is not a private company. This is the United States government. So you've got to be a little bit more careful as you move this giant ship, but they're not being careful at all. Like if you were going to do this, you would go through a whole bunch of process, and it doesn't mean that you take forever and you take 4 years and you lose your opportunity. You can do it quickly, but you would have to go through normal processes to make sure you're not breaking everything on your way. Now you own a private company like Twitter/X. Well, that's his company at this point. He bought it, so he can fire those people. He can break it all he likes, and if it goes bankrupt, it goes bankrupt. No big deal. That's not our business. That's his business. When it's the U.S. government, it's our business. And so I'm telling you right now, if you're MAGA and you're like, oh yeah, Elon, he's got this thing figured out, fire everybody, it's gonna work out great. Brace for impact, buckle up, because there's no way this out of control freight train doesn't cause significant damage. If you enjoyed this video, that's because of our members. They make us independent, they make us strong, and they make us honest. Become a member today by hitting the join button below.